Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm so excited because we finally get to talk about the Secret Project books. Like book number 1, which had this pretty, Secret Project number 1 cover, is Tress of the Emerald Sea. So its cover is still this emeraldy green color. I enjoyed this book. It was so cute. The poll though, you guys said you did not want spoilers, so I will try to control myself. If though there are weird cuts, like where I'm in the middle of a sentence and then it just skips out, I did not control myself and I had to edit that out. So bear with me if weird things like that happen in the video. I think the trash truck is coming by, so we're gonna pause it and then jump into the review. First things first, I think we have to talk about the fact that the illustrations and the cover for this book are gorgeous. All of it was done by Howard Lyons? Never know how to say things. Okay. But I will display some of the pictures that I think I can at different points through the video, like especially one where it's talking about, it's not specific, the magic, I don't know, we'll get there. Next, besides the beautiful illustrations, is the narrator. Of course, the audiobook is actually narrated by Michael Kramer, but the narrator of this story itself is none other than everyone's favorite world hopper, Hoyd. Yes, he is telling the story as he's telling it to an unknown person, and it's of what he recalls of the events, and more than what he recalls, but he's telling the whole story because he is a storyteller, and he's in the story. He does take place in the story. You see him throughout it, and it's hilarious. He's not his normal self, but it is still, and his interjections in the current time where he's telling the story too about his own character, perfect. It was awesome. It was, yes. What type of story is this actually is probably an important thing to say too. It's a Sanderson novel, so I mean it could range, but mostly all of his work is fantasy, as is this. This one though is a whimsical adventure. It is not an epic story. It is just a fun story, and it is an adventure story as our main character sets out, which I'll get to in the description. But it was a very fun read, and it was a light read, and it is full of just like wonders, some like even everyday wonders, or for this planet, everyday wonders, that's just magical for the character, and things that she learns and she goes through is just very whimsically fun. Best way to describe it probably. And of course the fantasy that is typical of Sanderson with his normally magic system, because this is a Cosmere novel, so that means it does, and obviously since it has Hoyd, it has some basic structure of how his worlds are and things that normally take place on those, which we will get to. Our main character is Tress. Not her real name. They all call her Tress because of her long hair. Her real name is Glorf. Apparently it's a family name, and you should not make fun of her or judge her on this. But everyone calls her Tress, and she is just sweet and kind, and she's not like all the other girls who are not like all the other girls. They are so not like all the other girls, they managed to do it together. Words literally from the book. It was so funny how he played into that. But Tress is a normal girl who is just kind and thoughtful and keeps to herself, and doesn't want to impose on other people. That is the biggest thing about this character, is she wants to take care of people, and she doesn't want to put her problems on other people or feel like she's imposing. Even by asking questions, she feels like maybe she's imposing on these other people just by asking of them a question. That was an interesting concept to read, really, as she learned to be able, that it's okay to ask for help, and that it's okay to ask questions if you don't know things. But at her indeterminate age, she has been taking care of her family on their island home, because they live on an island in the middle of the sea, and they don't have a lot of money, especially after her father had an accident in the salt mine and is unable to do that job anymore. So she has helped take care of her family, and she is a window washer. Tress's passion, though, her favorite hobby, is collecting cups. Cups from all over the world by sailors that bring them into her island, and taking these cups to Charlie, who is the gardener slash pretending that he's not the Duke's son, though Tress knows who he is really. And he loves to make up stories for the cups. I question sometimes how true some of these things are, because he did actually say like he could read some of the writing on the cup at one point. I digress. But they have just this beautiful friendship. It's more kind of, you know, they're just kind of, she's just realizing, you know, her more feelings for Charlie. And Charlie's main thing, though, what everybody can hardly stand to be in his company, is he loves to talk and tell stories and just talk. But Tress loves Charlie's stories. Like, she loves hearing him come up with these grand tales about her cups. And they're adorable. And there are going to be other main characters that, how to say this without spoilers. Of course, Hoyd, as I've already said, does come up as a character in this story, as well as a crew of the Crow's song that are made up from people from various parts of the world that Tress lives on. Tress's island is called Diggins Point, and it is in the middle of the Emerald Sea. That's the name of the book. The seas in this book are not water. That might have to be saved for the talking about the magic system. Though I guess now could be transferred into the magic system section. Okay, so on Tress's world of Lumina? The interesting things about this Cosmere world is that there are 12 moons of the planet. And the moons are all a different color, and the moons is where the primal aether that, you know, on most planets is what is used as the magic source, is the investiture source. Here, though, here it is definitely much more raw, much different. It is not actually hardly even magic on this planet, at least in this context, in this form. The moons kind of weep the materials down to the planet, and in each different portion of the planet, it is one of the moons is like over it, and the seas there are different colors, and thus they get their names. The Emerald Sea, which is where Tress lives and comes from, is of course green, and it is a sea of spores. Not like Desmote spores, more like sand granules, so that's why they're not in the air so much. Spores, though, how they work is anything water based causes them to grow, to transform. As you know, humans and animals are majority water. This makes their planet extremely dangerous. Extremely. It is an interesting point of fact, though, that it never rains on Tress's island. Like, never. It rains on the world, of course, and it rains in a specific pattern. Hundreds of years, always rains at the same times. So it is a very trackable event, except for in 2 specific places, which we will get to. What the spores and water interactions do, though, is different depending on what color the spores are. It only ever really goes over like 3 of them. The emerald spores from the Emerald Sea and the Emerald Moon, if they interact with water, it forms giant vines. And, you know, coming in contact with people, it's dangerous, you know. Very careful about your own personal water and the spores, because the vines will form on a person. It's a very easy way to kill people. Not a great death. Hoyd explains that. Other ways, though, are very practical and useful, like the Rose Sea, right? Yes, Rose Sea has pink spores, and they use these spores to form rosite crystals, and this can be used to fill breaches in the ships, and actually it's quite handy. Another character that I forgot to mention kind of before moving into magic systems is our animal companion character, Huck. He's a rat. He's a talking rat. And he was kind of adorable in his own little ratty way. He was very intelligent. So things with that, though. You will find out things with that. So I cannot say too much about Huck, except that he forms a bond with Tress, and he tries to protect her and, you know, guide her. So their interactions were cute, as, you know, he points out things to her when he can that's like, you're not thinking straight. And he tries to take care of her too, like bring her food, make her rest, be a valet. The actual description of this book, though, how to describe this book. As I said, it is a whimsical adventure tale, and it takes our main character, Tress, from her island of Diggins Point across the Spore Seas on an adventure tale. I can't keep saying tale, can I? But Tress, our normal, sweet girl, leaves her island home that is all she's ever known and goes out into the wide world on the open seas and learns so many things about herself and different peoples, and that it's okay to rely on people for help, and just has this grand adventure, because that's all it is. There's no super world stakes. There's personal stakes for Tress that I can't say what it is because people don't want spoilers. Because yeah, if I say too much, then spoilers. So Tress sets off on her adventure, though, with a goal in mind, with this, you know, knowing she has to do this, that she can't just sit by and let this go on, you know, unresolved. So she sets off. She just finds new friends and new family and finds out things about herself, and that you can have more than one interest in life. As I said, she loves cups. She loves collecting cups. But she soon discovers that she has this vast love of something else as well. And Hoyd is, of course, on the ship. So her interactions with Hoyd, he's so funny. Oh my goodness. And he plays an integral part, though, in helping her adventure to take place and helping her to be able to accomplish the goal that she left her island for. And it was just the sweetest. Oh my gosh, it was the sweetest ending. I hope everybody goes and picks up this book. It is not a huge action adventure. It is not a huge epic fantasy. But it is a sweet adventure tale. And yes. It's just so, it was nice. It's not your typical Brandon Sanderson, but it was just wonderful in its own way. I have not read Legends and Lattes yet still, but once I read that one, and then maybe I can help say that they're on that scale, because I don't know. Because that's like it says it's low stakes fantasy, right? And this is just whimsical fantasy. I've got to get to it so that way I can compare it. Without spoilers, though, I'm still going to say that there are Easter eggs in this book, of course, that connects it to the Cosmere at large. One of them I did not even realize until my second read through of it. And I heard it and I was like, wait, I paused the book and I'm like, did she just say that? My book rating for this was a 4.5 stars. It was. I enjoyed this book so much. I hope that you guys will pick it up. Sanderson said when he was writing the book that he had been, it was of course during quarantine, and he had been watching The Princess Bride with his family and enjoying like that sort of fantasy, and he wanted to make a tale like that one. And this was a story that developed out of that, and I can see that. It has that sort of whimsical, just fantasticalness. Yes, I enjoyed it so much. I loved Tress's journey. I loved getting to see her go from that sweet girl through her adventure and kind of growing and not really changing much. Like, she did change, but you know, growth makes you change. But still being true to herself. It was just, oh my goodness. Yes, if you want to get the audiobook or the ebook of it, The ebook also does have the beautiful illustrations. They are going to be available on January 10th, so this coming up week. The physical copies won't be available in stores though until April, which is a little sad, but hopefully you guys do not think that I gave too much details, that you're like, spoilers, Morgan. Because I tried, I really did. I totally researched some information from notes that I'd made though, just in case you guys ever do want to talk about the book more. I'm here for it, you know. We can. Though, if you enjoyed this at all, please consider going to get the book, because it was fun. It was a very fun adventure tale, and if you're a fan of fantasy, you will like it. It's not a super long Sanderson book, so it won't take you forever. This is definitely a good one if you want a smaller one, or if you're just, this actually could be a pretty good introductory one maybe. It's not like the rest of his works though, so it's, I will put more thought into that. If you have not subscribed yet though, guys, please consider it. Check out some of my other videos maybe to see if you actually want to. I have reviews, unboxings, and a new series where I say what's coming out this week every Monday. That maybe you can find some new favorites or just intriguing reads you hadn't heard of before. I really hope though that you will consider subscribing, pick up something awesome to read today, or continue on if you're doing that, and join us for the next one. I'll see you next time, guys.